Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be taking a look at another Halloween inflatable. Now this is one that I bought on eBay. You know, I've been buying a lot of used inflatables lately. I tend to get them from Facebook Marketplace, and I've kind of had some bad luck with some recently, especially with the older inflatables, because if you may remember, if you've been watching mine, the sort of the castle one that I bought, I was really excited. I got a good price on it, and I went and I inflated it, and it just wouldn't stand up. And that's going to be devastating if the same thing happens to me with this inflatable, because I am wanting to use this as the main entryway into my haunt this year. You know, at the end of my driveway, I usually have a canopy set up, and I have some sort of inflatable archway that people enter through to enter the canopy and then extend into my driveway haunt. So since my canopy is going to be spider themed this year, I was looking for a spider archway inflatable. I couldn't really find any new ones that worked. However, I went to eBay and I found this one. As you can see, it is a 9-foot inflatable spider archway, and the seller said he'd only used it twice for 2 Halloween parties, one day each. So I'm not sure, based on the condition of this box, how accurate that is, but you know, you can't really judge it because these things are so hard to fit back in the box. It could have, you know, he could be telling the truth. However, it is from 2012. I wasn't sure what the year was when I bought it, but now we know, 2012. So it's several years old. And you know, the older these inflatables get, they tend to hold less and less air because the fabric expands. The air goes through the fabric a lot easier. So I'm a little bit worried, but I am excited to see what we're going to have when we inflate this box. Again, this is a Gemmy product. It is from 2012. I don't know where it was originally sold, but I got it for $65 on eBay, and I kind of thought that was a bit pricey, especially when you add on shipping to that. So for me, it became $80 total. So $80 for a questionable inflatable that hopefully will work, but we're gonna find out in a minute. What else does it say on here? It lights up, it's weather resistant, easy setup, indoor and outdoor use. That's about it. So looks like it's got some of these fun big old legs with lights in them. And again, I'm gonna hopefully be able to walk right through that into my canopy. Let's go ahead and take this outside, plug it in, and see if he'll stand up. All right, the first thing we need to do is get this out of the box. Let's go ahead and pull that out. So, first thing I can see is it's got this interesting sort of purple tinsel effect. But there is quite a lot of material all rolled in. Hopefully I didn't just damage the fan. But let's go ahead and get that all unrolled. They did seem to do a pretty good job of rolling that up. Much better than I typically do. But we do have the fan here, typical Gemmy fan. We're gonna snap out the legs, keep that air flowing, and then here is a plug. So let's go ahead and move this box out of the way. Sit this down. Go ahead and plug it in and see what happens. All right, the fan sounds pretty strong. It does look like it's very clean and in relatively good shape, so maybe the seller wasn't lying, which would be a nice refreshing change of pace. I do like offhand, I was kind of wondering how the legs were going to be, but you know, I didn't know that they would be connected like this. I kind of thought the legs were separated, which this is actually more effective. All right. I think we need to turn it around a little bit. Give it a few more. Okay, now there is a big tear in the top here, so that's a little upsetting. Okay, well, we're getting there. I don't know if you can see, but it looks like the fabric is all twisted up here. I think I've got the leg twisted around. I'm going to try and untwist it here. Turning it some way. No, maybe not. Maybe. This leg's inside out. All right, we're getting there. There we go. All right. I am honestly impressed, even with the giant tear that I found in the top, which should be an easy fix. I'll just take some black duct tape and cover it up because it's going to be way up there, nobody's going to see it. I'm relatively impressed that it's still staying inflated. Kind of what my backup plan was going to be was to just use these ties and tie them to the canopy to kind of hold it up and hold it in place, which is what I typically do with my archways anyway. But anyway, I'm pretty impressed with it so far. Let's go ahead and bring the camera in. We'll take a closer look. As we move close up to the archway here, we can see our spider has this creepy face with rather large fangs that bite down upon you as you pass through. These large overhanging spider legs on the sides give it a very three-dimensional feel. Here, when you're standing on the side of it, you can really tell how much that spider body overhangs the archway, so it really does feel like you are walking underneath this menacing looking spider. Or happy spider, depending on your perspective. Do have the purple stripes along the legs that go all the way down on the front and the back legs. Looks like we've got a light shining through at the top of each leg. I'm not sure if it goes any further down. I guess we'll see that in a bit when it gets a little bit darker. And then of course there's a little bit of extra lighting in his face as well. On the side, you can see I did go ahead and tether it to the ground just with one tether. There are spots for two here on each side. That's because he tends to want to lean to one side or the other, depending on which way the wind blows. But with both tethers, he is pretty straightforward, so we can walk right through and take a look at the back side. Not a whole lot to see on the back side. That stripe pattern, again, on his legs goes all the way around. Now, I'm not sure if this was the tear I saw when I was pulling it out of the box, but I see there is another one on the other side, so two tears, yet it is still holding. So that's impressive in itself. On the underside of the spider's body here, you do see what I believe is a black widow pattern. And there we go. The Gemmy Inflatable Spider Archway from 2012, still standing after all these years. Here in the dark, you can see the 5 light bulbs gives it just enough glow to give it some presence. Now, we did have a little bit of problems with the lighting itself. The bulbs weren't falling where they needed to be when we first inflated it. We could only see lighting in the top half of the legs. Fortunately, there are 2 little tiny zippers on each side of the bottom of the legs that are going to help you deflate the inflatable. So if you're going to have to adjust these light bulbs, you're going to have to reach through that tiny little opening all the way up the legs and try and fix or change the light bulbs. They take the regular C7 bulbs that are in this type of inflatable, so it's kind of easy to do if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, make sure you set aside some time for that. We have just like an intermediate knowledge of what we're doing, and it still took us about half an hour to get this fixed. I mean, one of the bulbs was tangled up, the other bulb was out completely. So The only other thing that I think might help it is a little bit more lighting, as a matter of fact. We do have an external lighting source shining on it right now, but the very black inflatable, when it's dark outside, it's going to tend to get a little bit lost. So again, you've got those holes in the bottom. You could put some external lighting in the holes, maybe some of those whirl of motion type lights that are going to shine lighting up into the legs and give it some energy and movement. Or even put that whirl of motion out here, like maybe one of those spider effects, and just project little mini spiders swirling all around him. That could be kind of neat as well, and it'll give it that little bit of extra light that he needs here in the darkness. Now, just to give you kind of an idea of what he really looks like in the dark, let's go ahead and turn off our side light. There you go. All right, so what do you think? Now, I'm not even going to attempt to put that Archway inflatable back in this box. The previous seller had wrapped that so well and stuffed it in here. I'm kind of worried that that might have been what ripped it. So even though it's kind of my thing, I always say save your boxes, stuff the inflatables back in. It makes it easy to store, easy to resell, easy for the next person to love. But I don't know if that might have caused it to rip. So we're going to baby that thing until Halloween because, like I said, I love this inflatable. I really love the presence of it. It's going to work great in my theme. And I just love arch inflatables. I love things that you can walk under, and particularly with this one, how the body hangs far over the actual archway. It really gives you that presence before you walk through the archway. So I did try and repair it a little bit with the duct tape. It was very hard to get it to stay, obviously. Doesn't really want to stick to the fabric, but hopefully it'll be enough to get me through the Halloween season. And if it doesn't last 2 seasons, I'll be a little disappointed because it was a little bit pricey. But when you think about it, this prop now is 7 to 8 years old. It's been through several seasons outside, well, 2 according to the seller, and it's still going so strong. I'm very impressed with it. But I'm curious to know what you think, so make sure you leave me a comment below. Tell me what you think, and that'll do it for today. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you stay tuned for more inflatable reviews, prop reviews, DIYs, store walkthroughs, etc. Till then, take care, guys. Happy haunting.